Yeah, welcome to the class. Lovely to have you all with us online on YouTube for this virtual meditation class this evening on Thursday. I'm here in the Cambridge Buddhist Centre Lower Shrine Room. I've got Dharmasiddhi a couple of metres away from me. We've also got a team around me. We've got Satchiparan, we've got Adele, Saki here as well, keeping an eye on the stream and the comments. So in this class, we always start with a little pep talk just to get us hopefully gladdened and in the mood for a little bit of meditation. So Dharmasiddhi was talking last week about papancha, which is a Buddhist Pali word for proliferating thoughts, for thought that's kind of quite habitual, quite unconscious, but it takes us out of our direct experience. It can take us into the future when we're worrying about things. It can take us into the past when we're ruminating and analysing stuff, or even just longing for things in the past. The problem with papancha is it's not helpful for integration, and that was a bit of a theme in the Journey and Guide course that myself, Dharmasiddhi, and Satchiparan are currently doing on Saturday mornings. So we're exploring the different aspects of human growth, and we've been looking at integration. And particularly been looking at this aspect of papancha. And if you might remember, those of you that were here last Thursday, and Dharmasiddhi was talking about the importance of connecting with the body. Connecting with the body, very, very important in meditation. The body is anchored in the present very naturally, and so thoughts can be off in the future, they can be off in the past. You'd be doing all sorts of things, and sometimes that's wonderful, isn't it, to just sort of escape from our experience. But in meditation, we need to be really present with our experience, and coming back into the body, feeling the sensations in the body is a really direct way of coming into direct experience, and that's absolutely essential for integration. So I hope you were practicing that in your own practices since last week. This week, I'm just going to touch a little bit on another really important aspect of integration, which is what we call the ethical aspect of integration. You could say that getting in touch with the body and feeling the sensations is maybe what we might call an important aspect of horizontal integration. Sangharakshita, our teacher in Sri Ratna, he talks about two dimensions of integration. So you have the horizontal, where you're gathering your experience, you're coming in the present moment, and then you're expanding your experience to include your whole awareness of your body and your feelings and your thoughts. In vertical integration, we're trying to connect with our depths, the depths of our experience. We're trying to bring deeper threads into our awareness. So it's a little bit. It's very attractive, but also quite demanding. Doing that, trying to get in touch with that vertical aspect. And one of the ways that we can contact that vertical dimension of integration is through ethical practice, ethical sensitivity. And this is a very, very important aspect of mindfulness and metta, is being able to contact that ethical sensitivity. Friends of mine who do mindfulness often use this app on a smartphone called Headspace. I don't know if you've tried it. I've tried it a few times. It's interesting. It's pretty good. There's a lot of present moment awareness. There's a lot of emphasis on calmness. Connecting with the body. But one of the aspects that I noticed wasn't very explicit in, say, a smartphone mindfulness app like Headspace is they don't make the ethical dimension very conscious. And that is key for going deeper in vertical integration. I'll explain that in a moment. So in Buddhist mindfulness, there's this Buddhist word called appamada, and it basically means conscience. Literally it means heedfulness, but basically it means conscience. So when you become more self-aware, when you become more in the present moment, when you become more connected with your experience, you start to notice this part of your awareness that knows that has a sort of innate sense of what's right and wrong. We call this conscience, if you like. And this aspect is very important in mindfulness, because in Buddhism, we become aware through meditation and mindfulness that we shape our minds, yeah? Through becoming more aware, through cultivating metta, loving kindness, we start to become more aware that we can influence the shape of our minds. And the Buddha taught very clearly that actions have consequences, so what we do outside in our daily life and what we do on cushions are not separate. They reflect each other. So, if you're sitting in meditation and you're feeling distracted, you're thinking about EastEnders, or you're ruminating over, an argument or a difficulty you had in work with a colleague and you're feeling resentful, or you're feeling really tired because you're really frazzled, you've been really busy and overworking or dealing with all sorts of things. When you sit to meditate, you experience all that. You, in a way, experience the essence of what you've done during your day. Yeah, you experience your shape. And so there's this opportunity when we meditate to work with the forces that shape our minds and our experience through awareness. Yeah, and one of the things we have to do in meditation, you have to realize that what we do during the day affects how we experience our mind when we sit in meditation. But also, when we sit in meditation, we have a chance to investigate how we've ended up with the experience we've got. If you feel happy, then know what the conditions were during your day that led to you feeling happy, content. If you're feeling frustrated or resentful or distracted, what were the conditions that led to your mental states being in that shape? So this relates very much to this idea of having a fit mind that Maitreya Bandhu talks about in his excellent book, Journey and the Guide. I think if we don't take on board that what we do during the day affects the shape of our mind when we sit for meditation, maybe meditation isn't really meditation. Maybe meditation is more like a medication. Yeah? What do I mean by that, medication? Well, I mean we're using our practice to try and just medicate away things that we might not be aware of in our daily lives that are contributing to the shape of our minds. Yeah? So our meditation and what we do in our lives ethically have to reflect each other ultimately to make progress, to get this deeper sense of integration, this more vertical sense of integration. And this is where conscience comes in, because our conscience is what reminds us of what's ethical. It's a very natural sensitivity. So I'll give you a little example. Sometimes we only really notice our conscience when we go against it. I remember going into a sandwich shop some time ago before lockdown, and I bought a sandwich, I bought a packet of crisps, I got a bottle of Diet Coke, and went up to the counter. She said it was like $4.20 or something, and I handed over a £10 note. And then she gave me some change, and I didn't really look at it, but there was a part of me that said something like, hang on a minute, she seems to have given me £16.80 in change or something like that, and I only gave her a £10 note. But I talked myself out of it. I walked out the shop, was halfway up the road, just across from Primark. I thought, I better just check this out. Did she really? And I looked, and sure enough, I'd handed her a £10 note, and she thought I'd given her a 20. So I had the sandwich, I had the packet of crisps, I had the Diet Coke, and I'd have been given 16 quid as well. And I thought, so there was part of me, the lower part, said, oh boy, it's my lucky day. And that part of me wanted to just, put that down to luck and walk off. But then there was this other part of me, it's taken 29, 30 years of meditation to get there. This other part of me said, no, you can't do that. That's not right. She's made a mistake, and that might affect her, and also it doesn't feel right. So I went back into the shop. I went up to the counter. I said to the girl behind the counter, I said, look, you've given me too much change. You must have thought I gave you £20. I didn't. I only gave you 10. Here's the money back. And the look in her face was priceless. She was absolutely shocked at my honesty, you know. But the thing was, when I left the shop, I felt it was the right thing to do. I felt I'd done the right thing. That was my conscience, you know. It said, no, you can't do this. And I've done, you know, I might have done something different in the past, but I know I would have felt bad about it, you know. Even if I had kept that £10, I would have felt bad about it and probably wouldn't have enjoyed it. I would have felt conflicted somewhere, even if I spent it and got away with it, so to speak. And that's conscience. It's something that really integrates us around higher values. And those higher values are a source of freedom. I felt lighter. It didn't really matter about the £10, actually. I felt freer and I felt I'd done the right thing. And this feeling of ethical sensitivity had led me to make the right decision. And so when we're meditating, I think it's really important to look for this quality of conscience, or as we call it in Buddhism, appamada, heedfulness, because this is the thread that helps us to feel integrated. Now, an image came up, and it might be useful to you, it might not be. I found it useful. And I remember when I was young, I used to get told stories from the Greek myths. And I really liked the story of Theseus in the labyrinth with the Minotaur. And of course, you know, he was the Greek hero. He had to go in the labyrinth and he had to go and face down the Minotaur. And this was all symbolic of something like to do with order and chaos back in ancient Greece. It's a long story. We're not going to go into the sort of details. The main thing is just the image. And the labyrinth, you know, in a certain sense, could represent, in my mind, it represents papancha. It represents the unintegrated mind, because in the labyrinth you get lost. It's a little bit scary. You have to face down the Minotaur, the sort of parts of ourselves that we've disowned. But you know, but it's a scary place. But then there's this princess Ariadne, who falls in love with Theseus, the hero, and he gives Theseus a thread, and that thread is vital for Theseus, because when he goes into the labyrinth to face the Minotaur, he has to find his way out of the labyrinth, and if he hadn't had thread from Ariadne, he wouldn't be able to get out. And I think, and I hope I'm not pushing the metaphor too far here, but I think that the thread that Ariadne gives the hero is conscience, is a thread of conscience. That's the part of our mind, if you like, our being, which helps us come out of the labyrinth of papancha, the labyrinth of disintegration, back to freedom, back to happiness, normality. Now, there's a long story of what happens to Ariadne and Theseus after he gets out of the labyrinth, but that's another story, as I say. But I'll leave you with the image, you know, of the labyrinth. You know, I feel sometimes my mind is a bit like a labyrinth of papancha. So if you look for the thread, maybe there's a way out. And I'm saying that the thread could be appamada, could be conscience. So I'll leave it there with a few thoughts on the Dharma before we meditate. So what I'd like you to do now is actually just get ready for meditation. Yeah, get ready for meditation. We're going to do a short metabhavana for about 20-25 minutes. 5 stages, be 5 short stages, the usual traditional 5 stages. So just getting into a comfortable posture. And it's very good just to tune in with the body. Close your eyes, turn your attention inwards to your body. Find the present moment. Noticing your thoughts, you know, and what's going on there. Are you stimulated? Are you present? What are you thinking about at the moment? Noticing your feelings, just how you're feeling. at the moment? Is it pleasant feeling? Is it neutral? Is it negative? Is it a difficult feeling? Just acknowledging it, not trying to change it in any way. Just noticing your breath, first of all, just a few aware breaths, maybe just a little bit of deliberation, breathing into your belly, just to help ground yourself in the present moment. And then relaxing. Relaxing into your legs, the big muscles in the legs. Relaxing into your pelvis and your seats, just giving the weight of your body to your seats. And relaxing those shoulders, just letting them sink down. It's not holding up any emotions, any energies, any tensions. Just let them sink down. Feel the flow of energy right through your arms, down into your wrists, hands and fingers. And being aware of your neck, face, softening the muscles in your face. And particularly softening the muscles around the eyes. So much tension can build up there throughout the day. Just gathering your energy, noticing the different sensations in your body and in your energy body. Coming into the present moment more and more deeply. And just setting your intention that you're doing the metta bhavana, cultivating loving kindness for yourself and for all beings, a friend, a neutral person, a difficult person, everyone in the class and everyone outside the class. Setting that intention. And we begin by cultivating loving kindness towards ourselves. Just tuning in to the heart, your body and your feelings. Just noticing how you feel about yourself. And using phrases if it helps. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I be fulfilled. Expressing your intention to cultivate love and kindness towards yourself. If you're not feeling particularly metaful toward yourself, just acknowledge that. Just acknowledge that and bring some kindness to that feeling. Bring some patience. Just listen. Just listening to your experience. It's okay. Whatever you feel is okay in this moment. Just holding yourself. Supporting yourself. And the second stage of the practice, when you're ready, just bringing to mind a friend, someone that you already feel positive feelings towards, someone that you already feel some metta towards. Just bringing their presence to mind, whatever way feels comfortable for you. Wishing them well. May they be happy. May they be fulfilled. May they be free from suffering. Perhaps noticing feelings of gratitude to have such a friend in your life. Just looking for the flow of metta between you and your friend, just allowing it to open your hearts. Just enjoying the qualities of your friend, dwelling on qualities that they have that you appreciate. What a boon it is to have a friend. What a gift, precious gift. Just enjoying any feelings of metta that may be arising towards your friend. And then in your own time, just bringing to mind next a neutral person, someone that you don't know. You don't know very well, someone that you maybe see around everyday life. Might be the person behind the supermarket counter. Might be someone that you see getting the bus in the morning. Might be someone in a different office that you've never crossed paths with properly, but you see them around. Could be the postman. Someone that you don't know. You've neither got aversion towards them, nor do you have a strong response to them because you don't know them. A strong positive response. It's just neutral. But they too are someone that is an object of our metta, our loving kindness. They too have their own lives, their own fears, difficulties. They too have their own hopes, aspirations. Maybe you can get a hint of those deeper aspects of their personality, even though you don't know them. It's little clues. They're a human being, and in Buddhism, everyone is an object of our metta, all beings. You may never get to know this person, but you share the same world, share the same fears and concerns, happinesses and successes. It's good to just connect with that common humanity. We're all human beings. We all share the same experiences. So may they be well, may they be happy, may they be fulfilled. Moving on to the fourth stage in your own time. Bringing to mind a difficult person, someone that you don't find easy, someone that presses your buttons sometimes, triggers you, someone that you'd easily avoid if you could, but maybe you can. And this is a really important stage of metta bhavana, being able to try and give metta to the difficult person. This is a very transformative stage. It's not easy, but very important. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is when our papancha can go crazy, coming up with stories of blame and this should have happened, this shouldn't have happened, they're like this, they're like that. Notice all the papancha that might come up. Try and come back to the body, come back to the sensations, come back to the raw, direct emotionality of your body. What do you really feel beneath the story of this difficult person. And hard as it might be to do, wish them well. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be fulfilled. They too are human beings just like us. They suffer. They have periods of happiness and success. They have dreams, aspirations, things that they worry about. Deep down, we all just want to be happy. Sometimes the ways that we try to be happy are not always easy to understand. And then in your own time, moving into the last stage of the Metta Bhavana. This is where we equalize out the metta for ourselves, the metta towards our friend, neutral person, a difficult person. We equalize the metta to all four without exception. May we be well. May we be happy. May we be fulfilled. Unconditionally offering metta to all equally. And this is the heart of the Metta Bhavana practice. Unconditional love, without exception, to all. And then having equalized the metta to these four people, including ourselves, we then expand out the metta to all beings. So imaginatively sending metta to everyone in this class tonight on YouTube, all the different people that have logged in from different parts of the world, different cities and towns, all practicing Metta Bhavana together. May we all be well, happy, fulfilled, free from suffering. Continually expanding the metta out further afield in your own way, gradually and imaginatively sending your metta to everyone, anywhere, without exception. May we all be happy. May we all be fulfilled. May we all be free from suffering. So allowing the metta to flow and express and expand and connect with all beings. Just in your own time, just maybe dedicating the merits of the practice to all beings. Just opening your eyes and getting a sense of what might have happened over that 20-25 minute period. Connecting a little bit with what I was talking about earlier around conscience, appamada as it's called in Buddhism. Noticing how metta seems to cultivate ethical sensitivity. There's a big connection, I think, between loving kindness and ethical sensitivity. It can have a big impact on our daily lives. Of course, the more we bring metta, the spirit of metta into our daily lives, the more deeper we will be able to integrate ourselves with our own cushions, as it were, on the chair and meditating. So I'm just going to check in Vijayasaki and
hello, Dharma.
I think it's time. Is it questions? Is it Vijayasaki?
Questions? Yeah. If anybody wants to ask a question or just make a reflection about the practice that we've just done, then they're very welcome to write that in the chat. Yeah, but actually, Dharmasiddhi, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed what you had to say about horizontal and vertical integration, and I found that image of conscience as being like the thread in that story. I found that really, I've not thought of it in that way before, but I did find that really helpful, actually. And I can really, there's a sense in which you can feel that that's true, that conscience it runs through your body in a way, like a thread. And you can become more sensitive to it. And I suppose that is where mindfulness and metta meet, isn't it? Because when you become sensitive to that tug of conscience, you've got to remember to be metaphor as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes people say, you know, it's difficult to feel in touch with, you know, conscience and stuff because life's so busy, so much to do, so much input from Facebook and Instagram and social media and constantly on the surface. And it's true, I think, it can get a bit numbed down, you know, but I like what you just said there about the body. Because in a way, the body's always honest, I think, you know. We delude ourselves with all sorts of interpretations about what's going on, but the body's always honest, you know. Like, I know I can, if I'm angry, I can tell myself I'm not, but my shoulders will give the game away, you know, they'll be really tense, or my hips will be really tense, you know. And some people will say, oh no, I'm fine, I'm calm, you know, but their stomach's churning with anxiety. Sometimes we don't notice that, do we, until we actually sit to meditate. And I go, oh my God, what's going on in my body? And this is what Artiseli was saying last week. You know, direct experience, sensations in the body. This is where all the emotions are kept. The body's like the unconscious. It's like a mirror, isn't it, of what's actually going on emotionally, you know. It can be a really, really helpful support for that, for conscience, because, you know, I don't know about you, but with that little story about, you know, the £10 from the sandwich shop, I could feel in my body. I remember tensing up.
Yeah.
My body was saying, it's not right, you know. I need to go back and get this 10 quid back. It's not right, you know. That part of me that was saying, your quid's in, no one's ever going to know. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. You know? So the body reflected that. And I probably wouldn't have slept very well or something if I had overridden my conscience on that incident. But yeah, it's a very useful mirror for honesty, emotional honesty.
Yeah, and I think also you demonstrated that it's just an opportunity, isn't it? It's an opportunity to sit and just notice that helps us to sort of grow.
Yeah, like noticing our shape, isn't it? I mean, what's actually been happening today? And then you sit down and you sort of begin to feel the shape of your day, but then also not just of your day, but of years maybe, you know. And it's an opportunity to explore, investigate. Why is that? What's conditioned that? What's happening? And you know, can we use our ethical sensitivity to kind of explore that from an ethical point of view, what we're doing in our lives, how that's reflecting back when we're on the cushions. It's fascinating. It's very, very rich area, isn't it? Meditation, yeah. So much can come out of a single sit. Even, you know, your so-called bad sits. I always remember this years ago, you know, one of the, you know, Kamala Sheila, I think, you know, so one of the main meditation teachers in Sri Lanka, just saying, you know, some of your most, you know, your emotionally difficult sits can actually be some of your best sits in terms of you learn so much about your shape, about how you really are, but they weren't pleasant necessarily. And I think when you meditate long term, you've got to embrace that view that there's going to be times when you can't just go for the medication model. If I don't get my hit of calm, it's been a bad sit. It's a lot deeper than that. It's actually about insight into yourself. It's about self-awareness. It's about learning. And sometimes that's not easy to do, but so valuable.
Yeah, thank you. And no questions so far, but Jeanette says thank you. I really enjoyed your talk. And Sharon says thank you. I enjoyed both your talk and the meditation.
Thank you. Thanks. That's nice to hear. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And Tor says, I love the phrase shape of experience. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Doug. That comes from the Dhammapada, by the way, Tor. You know, it's the first couple of lines of the Dhammapada, one of the oldest Buddhist suttas. Our lives are shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Suffering follows an unskillful thought, like the wheel, like the wheel follows an ox or something like that. I can't remember off the top of it. But the main point is we shape our minds through our skillful or ethical choices. You know.
There is a question here, Dharmasiddhi. Anna says, I also found curious what you mention about meditation being just a remedy, i.e. medication. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah. I mean, it might be being slightly provocative here, but I suppose all meditation's got some value, don't get me wrong. But what I was maybe trying to get us to think about was that sometimes we can, you know, like say you've got a headache, you reach for an aspirin, don't you, or a paracetamol to try and remedy it. And sometimes we can relate to meditation a bit like that. You know, I'm feeling stressed out, I'm going to meditate. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's fine. But I suppose when you start to look at things from a vertical, integrative point of view, you have to look at what's shaping that stress in your life. You know, shaping that stress in your life. It's kind of like trying to understand the deeper roots of the dynamics that's bringing the suffering, and not just trying to manage the suffering on a sort of everyday level. As useful as that can be, I mean, it's part of the Dharma, isn't it? You know, it's cultivating calm and then insight. Sometimes, you know, it can just remain on the, you know, cultivating calm level, and we just use it in the same way as we might use an aspirin to sort of deal with a headache. Not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's not a criticism, but I just wanted to highlight there's another dimension to integration, which is the ethical dimension. We might have to change our lives. We will have to change our lives, actually, if we really want to align ourselves with the values of Buddhism. It's a challenge. It's brutal in some ways. It's brutally direct. We do have to change our lives, you know, and we have to look at what we do in our lives. We want to be truly integrated.
Thank you. So I just want to mention we are running a little bit out of time now, but there's a couple of comments I wanted to share. One from Shobit. Thank you so much for the lovely evening. I was here last week. Thank you. Darren says thank you. And Diana. Yeah. Diana says thank you as well.
Thanks very much. Lovely.
Yeah. Lovely to have everybody here. I think it's time to hand over to Dharmasiddhi now.
Yeah.
If he's happy.
Great, hello there. I hope you enjoyed the evening. Well done for coming. Well done for making it here. I hope you've benefited from participating in meditation tonight. And I just wanted to mention a few other things going on in the program. Because our program is not just a sort of an arbitrary program. All the things we do at the Buddhist Centre are here to sort of support you, encourage you to learn to work with your mind. That's what the Buddhist Centre program is really about. If you found it inspiring but also a bit challenging, well then you're on the right path, because it is a challenge to learn to meditate, to learn to work with your mind. Another thing going on in the program at the moment is actually we're in Sangha night, as we call it, on Tuesday, which starts at 7:15, runs 7:15 to 9:15. We're looking at what is enlightenment. So we're exploring how the ideal of enlightenment, but the reality of enlightenment, actually the possibility of enlightenment, is kind of relevant to every human being. So that's what we're exploring. And again, it's another aspect of our program that's just there to sort of support you to learn to work with your mind, discover what the possibility of mind is. We haven't actually currently got any retreats, but retreats are another aspect of what we do. If you haven't been on retreat as yet, I really recommend you go on retreat. They're the sort of most complete sort of aspect of our program to support you. So yeah, just letting you know a bit more about what's going on in our program to support you to learn to work more with your mind. And that is essentially what we're aiming to do with the program. That's what the program's all about. Actually, it's about that for us as well. We do all these classes. All of us have turned up freely. At least we're not being paid. But yeah, the classes themselves are sort of freely given. That's the spirit in which we want to engage. Just as Dharmasiddhi was saying, conscience is intimately involved with meditation, with the practice of meditation. So we engage with these classes just by giving them freely. And that's the spirit that supports us as well in our practice. So just to say that, and to say that actually we've made the radical decision of making that the basis of all our meditation of Buddhism, that we just give them freely. And in so doing, we're kind of inviting you, if you would like, to engage in that same spirit. Generosity is at the heart of what community means in Buddhism. So meditation night really is more like we're trying to create a community. It's not really a service, as it were. It's more like we're trying to create a community. So if you want to participate more fully in that, that's another way you can do that. As I say, it's freely given, so we don't want anything in return, personally. But if you would like to participate more fully, we're inviting you to do that. And you can do that as an experiment with finding ways to support and encourage your meditation practice and your practice of learn to work with your mind. So if you'd like to do that, there's many ways of doing that. I think probably can we do? Yeah, Vidyasaki, you'll put something in the chat, won't you?
Yeah.
Just have to check it on YouTube, won't we? Not on Zoom. Yeah. So Vidyasaki will put a link in the chat if you'd like to donate. However much or have a little is very welcome. We'll be very grateful for that. Many people give standing orders as well. If you'd like to take a standing order out, that's also very, very helpful actually for us. Great. So I think we've come to the end of our meditation night. Look forward to seeing you all next week. I think it's me next week, isn't it? So yeah, I'll see you all next week. Thanks again to Dharmasiddhi for his class this evening, and go well in your weeks. See some of you on Saturday morning. Okay, see you then. I think Adele will press the button. You'll